Hello everybody, welcome into our latest live broadcast. It is Thursday, the 17th of July, 2025. My name is CareyHolzman, and today we've got a review from a mini PC manufacturer that I've never heard of before and was brought to my attention from a viewer that looks, well, quite compelling. So I thought we would share this experience today and, well, see if it's as good as it looks, quite frankly. Today we're going to be looking at, I want to just jump to this real quick. We'll go to the Amazon page here. Right there. Should bring up the page. Yes, Aiberzy. But here's the deal. Look at how it's spec'd out. It's a XG1 370. It's an AMD Ryzen 9 AI 9 HX 370. So the Ryzen 9 AI HX 370. That's a 12-core, 24-thread CPU that can crank up to 5.1 gigahertz. It's built-in graphics, right? So that's the Radeon 890M. Now this unit is 64 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. And I know you're looking at that price and your eyeballs are probably gouging out of your head, but with 25% off, that brings that price down to $1,049. So we're right at that $1,000 price point on a very high end. I mean, we got a high-end CPU. We've got a great amount of RAM, a fair amount of storage. And I don't know why this says it's a 30-pack, but it's just for one. You don't get 30 of these for that price. It says it's got Windows 11 Pro. It'll idle at 3.3. What else? Ryzen 9, 12 core, 5.1. Blender rendering 30% faster. 45 watt to 65 watt TDP. It's got the 890. Oh, it's got the Oculink expansion port. It's got. Well, let's just let's look at the pictures. I prefer to look at the pictures. Okay, show me pictures of the unit. Where are they? Oh, there's the inside. We've got two M.2 Gen 4 slots. Right? Are they both? Yeah. No, this one's Gen 4 and this one doesn't have the 4.0. So I'm going to guess that's not Gen 4. You've got removable memory, so it's not the LP, the low power memory that's soldered on. It's a changeable memory from the looks of things here. So this is fully upgradable. It's got an HDMI port, 2 USB 4 ports, and a display port. That means you're going to have 4 monitors all at the same time at 8K output. This is insane. Let's see. Wi-Fi 7, yes. 2.5 gig built-in network card, yes. Is it going to be quiet? Says it is. There's the back and the front. There's built-in microphone, power button, USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type A's up front with a USB 4 Type C also up front. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, the little reset button that's recessed, and then right next to that, the other pinhole at the edge, that's a built-in microphone. So at both sides, you'll see here, there's a microphone at the top and a microphone at the bottom. So it's going to give some stereo effect if you're in a meeting or something, Zoom, and you don't have a microphone. Obviously, when you don't have a microphone like what I'm wearing, you're going to have audio that picks up the entire atmosphere of the room. So I don't know if that's desirable or not, depending on how you use it, but just be aware of that. Here we've got a regular USB Type A 2.0. That's great for keyboard and mouse use. We have the other USB 4 port right next to our HDMI output. We have an Oculink port and a display port or Ethernet port in our barrel power connector. So yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, who are these people? Where have they come from? How did I get here? Same as it ever was. It says it's already got ratings from people, 6 ratings. This is apparently everything in the box. It looks like we've got oh, this must be what the other M.2 slot is intended for. One for your storage, and one is a converter to go to Oculink that you can optionally use as Oculink or optionally use as a an additional storage drive, one or the other. Power cables, let's see. Well, someone did a good job with their pictures here. Oh, that looks good. This is the adapter. Apparently it's 19 volts, 120 watts, 6.32 amps. Here's the inside. Man, they just did all our work for us. There's the RAM, and there's the Kingston. So we're probably looking around 5,000 megabytes, 5 to 6,000 megabytes per second out of a Kingston Gen 4. And that's what I'm expecting to see today. And the people that have reviewed this, I mean, it's brand new, right? Oh, someone's an Amazon buying customer. Okay, so July 9th looks like, oh, July 2nd, July 2nd, July 3rd, July 2nd, yesterday. So we are looking at something that just came out just 2 weeks ago. Like, that's how new it is. I like that when I'm getting early on something that the rest of the creator community is more or less overlooking. And that's what I'm trying to do for you here, is I'm trying to present to you alternative information, including alternative products that aren't being financed by some big juggernaut that's, you know, sending all these review units out and asking every content creator to do it all on the same day to promote the release, and then you never hear about it again, ever. So this fits right along what I love to do most, which is look at the underdogs. Who's being ignored and why? Is there good value here at 1,050? I mean, compare it to the AI X1 Pro or the other mini workstations I've got. They're more designed for, you know, having a lot more internal storage. They're also physically larger. And the, what is it, the MSA2, I think, was $1,135. So this is nearly $100 less than that. I think it's the same CPU. Anyway, let me say hello to everybody, and then we'll get to unboxing this. So I want to, first of all, shout out our good friend Buster, joining us from Mary Bonnie. I almost said jolly old. That's not the right country, Carey. Joining us from Bonnie, Scotland, our friend Buster, Peter Laycock in the chat room, sends us a very generous PayPal contribution. We wasn't sure, yesterday I said I wasn't sure if I was going to have a live broadcast today. We've had a pause in the renovations waiting on a piece of, well, a vanity for the bathroom. And I've been waiting on it for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, everything came to a halt. The benefit of that is it gave me some time to recuperate financially from all the money I've spent. But now it's all starting back up. I didn't know when the vanity was going to arrive. It's a giant, you know, 600-pound, whatever it is. It's got to go up a flight of stairs. So I wanted to make sure that my whole day was set aside for this, because I've been waiting a long time and I spent a lot of money. It's not even that fancy, but it's decent. So that got done earlier than expected, and I said, hey, well, that's it for today then. We can go live, and so here we are. And then construction will start again when we're rebroadcasting. The next time you see me, you'll be hearing the construction continue where it left off. So anyway, Buster sent that along. He said, here, I hope this helps with your renovation cost. And absolutely it does. Thank you very much. Also, Buster sent us his regular gift card. He used to do it in Super Chats, and then he realized YouTube was taking 30% of his daily Super Chats and decided, I'll just send it to you in an Amazon gift card. That way you get the whole thing, and I get it right away. So he's such a thoughtful guy. I can't thank him enough for everything he's doing for us. And for all of you, our members, I can't thank all of you enough either, because, you know, it's not just Peter, it's just everybody all together on the same page, and it enables me to do stuff like this that I love doing, and I love the audience we have here. So it makes it so enjoyable for me to do what I enjoy with people I enjoy. And boy, that's a gift. Let me tell you, you've given me a great gift, and I hope you know how much it means to me. Let me go back over to the chat room and say hello. Mark Baggett, well, he was in there early, and Eddie Casanova joining us from Philadelphia. I also see John Paul Bacon and Jim Kenny joining us. Essential Working Too Hard says hello. Ben Laird joining us from Scotland as well says hello. I also see Dustin Fuller. And, of course, Buster. Andy W6AD says hello. Gilberto Galazzo says hello. Hello to Dazzle555 and to Gregory Howard. There's Steve Bass joining us and Frankie B. Good to see you, Frankie. Our good friend Steve Bass, for those of you who've been around for a while. Remember Steve Bass is the guy who wrote the last page of PC World. Am I getting that right? PC World magazine. Whenever I got my PC World magazine, it was the last page, wasn't it? Go right to the last page. That's the first page I open and read the editorial by Steve Bass. And so I was so excited to get to meet him at, gosh, I don't know if it was Comdex or CES a long time ago. And I guess he likes me back because we still talk. So that's really cool. So always good to see our friend Steve in there. There's Bajan guy saying hello. And yeah, I think I've said hello to everybody. In the meantime, let's do an unboxing. And if I left anybody out, I assure you it's unintentional. We're live and unscripted, and sometimes things go sideways. That's what keeps it interesting. That's what I say. Okay, so let me just clear some space here. Looks like any other PC box. It looks like it's got some pull tabs on it right here. I'm going to go to camera 2. Next to my Gatorade bottle, you can see that that's kind of gives you some scope of size. It's an expensive coaster. Don't do that. It's way too nice for that. Oh my goodness, the rubber feet are not covering up the screws. That is awesome. Oh, love it. There's also a fan down here to cool off this area. Normally your fan's only under the CPU. But here I can see a fan that cools down the RAM and storage area, which I think is fantastic. Pun intended, fantastic. There's all the ports we were just looking at. I'm going to set this face up so you guys can see that. I don't know how to pronounce that, Aiberzy. And then you get back over here. We've got some documentation. Power cord. HDMI cable. This is all the normal stuff. In this box, this is going to have the Oculink adapter. And that would go into the other M.2 slot if you want to add an external graphics card onto here. You would add this, an external GPU dock, and usually the dock will come with the cable, otherwise you'll need an Oculink cable. Oh, the power brick's not massive at all. For some reason, I was expecting this to have one of the giant power bricks like the little mini workstations have, but that's really small. That's got a cloverleaf style plug. There's our barrel connector. And then what else are we missing in here? We've got something back here. Oh, there's a how to reach for support, how to reach out to them. Very cool. And a VESA mounting bracket with screws if you want to mount this behind your monitor, or you can mount it under your desk or against the wall, whatever you want to do. So for our testing today, I just need the adapter, and I'm going to just put everything else back in the box. I am not reading any of that, unless I have to. Don't make me. I will turn this video around. Okay. Tell you what, just so I don't forget what we're working on, or if you're just joining us and you don't know what we're doing today, I'm going to leave the brand name up here. I try to do that so you guys know If you're joining us late or you forgot, I'll leave that up. Throw that away. Close enough. Let's plug it in. We got power. I've got my keyboard and mouse right over here. I finally had to charge these after a few months. So I did that last night. I'm so well prepared today. Let's plug it into the rear USB 2 port back here, because there's no sense using a fast USB port for a keyboard or a mouse. I promise you won't type any faster. And then, did I turn these on? Turn that on. Turn that on. I need an HDMI cable. We are not going to plug internet into this. Anytime you're doing a first boot on a computer, I strongly recommend you do not have your internet plugged into it. Or if you're reinstalling Windows for any reason, I strongly recommend that you do not install Windows with the Ethernet cable hooked up, because it'll force you into, it's going to want you to create a Microsoft account. Furthermore, it'll start downloading updates, making your install take forever. And if the reason you're reinstalling is to fix a problem, or you're wondering if you're, like it's a brand new build, is it going to work? How do you know it's not the updates it's downloading that create a problem, should you have a problem? So we always turn the computer on, whether it's a new pre-built machine or it's a system we just finished building. We do that with minimal connections, no flash drives, no printers, no unnecessary hardware, no internet. We go through our Windows install, or in this case, the Windows install is completed. We just have to finish up the install with the out-of-box experience. And part of that is to go online and look for updates, which could take a while. And again, sometimes the updates can cause a problem. So then if you have a problem, how do you know if it's not a Windows update problem or something wrong with the unit itself, or that you built something wrong, or you have some bad RAM? It makes the diagnostic so darn difficult. For all those reasons, we wait until we get to the Windows desktop before we connect to the internet, whether it's a plugged-in Ethernet cable or Wi-Fi. Save it for the desktop. So I just need the power cable here, and I think we can boot this up. So down here, I'm going to use one of my extension cables. That way I'm not having to take everything out of the box, but it's the same standard cloverleaf power cable. Sometimes it's called a Mickey Mouse power cable, because the silhouette of this kind of looks like the silhouette of Mickey Mouse. When they say Mickey Mouse, sometimes people think it means it's bad, like cheap, poor quality. It's Mickey Mouse. No, it's a silhouette. It's referring to the way Mickey Mouse looks. All right, just to clarify that for some people who, may be misunderstood. All right, we're ready to turn this bad boy on. So we're going to hit the power button, and there's the blue light. This is all live, so if anything arrives DOA or not working, there's no way for me to cover that up. Everything is transparent and honest, unscripted. It's all done in one take with no edits. So let's go over to HDMI 3, which I think is this one. And let's see if we get a signal out of this. So right now it says Elgato no signal, and that is my capture card. I have an Elgato HDMI capture card. And whenever you turn a computer on for the first time, even a pre-built, that first boot up, the first post or power on self-test takes about 3 to 5 times longer than what it will do, after that. It's just that first one. So be patient on a first boot up. Give it a good 5 minutes if you need to. And the more RAM it has, the longer that takes. I'm going to speed up my computer by adding more RAM. Congratulations, you just slowed your boot up time. So again, it's usually just the first boot up time, but I've seen systems with 96 gigs or 128 gigs of RAM that sit what feels like forever. And I tell clients, I'm like, you got to let it sit. Oh, there's no way it's taken this long. Oh, never mind, there it goes. Like, there you go. When you add more RAM, I am telling you, expect that boot time to take longer, at least the first one. Subsequent boots should be back to normal again. All right, so we're going to go through our out-of-box experience here. It's appearing the way it should. If you ever order a computer that just starts right to the Windows desktop, that isn't like custom made for you like what I do, then that means some mass manufacturer is setting those up incorrectly, and I would definitely want to reinstall the OS, because Lord knows what else they did. So when we get the screen like this, a regular out-of-box experience here, English United States is what we want. Yes, continue in English. And then country is United States. Yes, remember they ship these things worldwide. So depending on where you live in the world, you may get a different power plug to match your wall outlet. And then there's a secondary language for people that speak multi-languages. It wants to connect us to Wi-Fi. Oh look, it says I don't have internet. It's nice when manufacturers do the bypass NRO right out of the box, or it means your operating system is a year behind. We'll find out here in a second. Accept the license terms, and then we'll put a username in of user, USER, enter with a blank password. Of course, I leave location settings on. That way the date and time will be fixed for us automatically through the internet time clock. And you know, these things are built in Asia, where they're about 12 to 13 hours difference from us, I think. So if it looks like the day it's off by a day, it's usually off by 13 hours, and that may be the difference in why you're seeing the day. I recommend you do not attempt to fix the date or time. Leave it alone. Just make sure you turn location settings on. It'll take care of it for you. And anytime daylight savings occurs, or should the clock lose or gain seconds or minutes, which all clocks do, it will automatically fix that without you having to worry your pretty little head about it. So with that, it should finish up here and take us to the desktop. Once we're at the desktop, we can take a look at the system properties, the device manager. We'll see who makes that network card. And I'll plug it into the network and let it start downloading updates. There's always going to be missing updates. Now, these really cheap mini PCs that have been around for a couple years that are still being sold new on Amazon are quite appealing at their price point, but you may have to completely wipe and reinstall the operating system. The reason I say that is some of these mini PCs that are being sold at the budget line, at the $130 price point or somewhere in there, they might be 2 or 3 years old and just haven't been sold. So you're still the first owner of it, but now the operating system could be 22H2 of Windows 11 instead of 23 or 24. And then come this fall, it'll be 25. And it can take a long time to download each of those, and it's just faster to wipe it and reinstall it. And I've got videos that show you how to do that, how to back up your drivers using native Windows tools. You're not installing any third-party software. It doesn't cost you any money to download the Windows 11. It's all free. And if you're just joining me, you're missed out on a lot of content since 2008. So you got some catching up to do. Nothing a search can't fix. All right, I want to change this resolution. I'm clearly in 4K mode, which is just too teeny tiny for me to read. So we're going to come up here to display resolution 1920 by 1080. Let's keep that. Now let's take a look at our system and see what version of Windows we got here. There's our AMD Ryzen 9 HX370 with the built-in graphics. Oh, we've got 32 gigs of RAM. We didn't get, I see. They sell a couple versions of this. This is my mistake. I thought I got the 64 gig version. Clearly I got the 32. That makes more sense because I'm thinking, why would I have ordered, I'm asking myself, why would I have ordered 64? Anyway, so 32 gig is what we've got here. It is Windows 11 Pro, and it is 24H2, which means that the manufacturer did turn off initiated the bypass NRO, because by default, Microsoft forces you to do that, and then we'd have to hit Shift F10 and do it ourselves. I appreciate that Aiberzy, or however you say their name, they've already done that for us. That's beautiful. Shows as operating system, because this is a brand new unit, looks like it was just installed less than 2 months ago, or at least this install image was created then. While we're doing this, let me go ahead and plug the network in. So watch this little globe down here, because I'm going to grab a network cable. This way, as we look around the system and familiarize ourselves with it, we can download these updates in the background. In just a second, it should determine that I plugged the network card in. You'll see that little icon down in the right corner flash as it's obtaining an IP address from our router. That's already done. So now you see here the date and time says it's tomorrow at 4 o'clock. That's about a 12-hour time difference from where I am. Now this can automatically fix itself, or I can just tell it to go ahead and fix itself now. I can say set my time zone automatically and then turn this off and back on again. And watch up here. Boom. See that? That's why I tell you, leave it alone. It'll fix itself. Now it would have done that on its own anyway, but I just wanted to make sure that was turned on before I go checking for updates, because sometimes the clock for updates and any sort of internet activity can throw off certificates and things and give you errors. And then finally, what do we have under advanced options here? No, I don't want the insider. Go back. Advanced. Come on. We're going to turn this on. We're going to turn this on. And we're going to turn this on. I see 0 available on optionals. It's already, it's good to restart. Okay, let's restart it. Holy cow, I wasn't expecting that to happen so quickly. I can't hear a thing. Like, if this has a CPU fan and that fan underneath for the RAM and storage, I can't tell it's running at this point other than I see the light on. So let's see how long this takes to restart and install that update as we are live. You're seeing everything in real time here. And while that's happening, I guess I can go turn on camera 1 and put myself in a corner. Probably no sooner than I get that done, it'll be ready again, right? Just put myself up here for now. I had no idea that was going to come up to restart that quick. So, David Graham joins us and says hello. There's Michael Lavelle, and also, hold on a minute, where's my, there you guys are. Andy's asking, what are the power supply ratings? I think you might have asked that before we showed that, right? You did see that that was in the Amazon page that we were just looking at, that someone took a photo of the back of the power supply. Dazzle555 said that's a small power brick for a Ryzen 9, right? It just shows you how much more efficient they're making these. Charlie Purdy joins us and says hello. Welcome into Charlie. John Lewis joins us from Brazil. Well, it's a big update, apparently. There it goes. All I had to do was talk about it. The XG1 from Aiberzy. Kind of has a Mac appearance to it. Seems like metal around the edges. I can't tell if the top is metal. It feels like metal. The bottom is definitely plastic. Yeah, I think this is all one polished piece. I don't have to take any rubber feet off to get to the screws. Little things, it's all it takes to make me happy. All right, we're back up and running. We're gonna go back to Windows Update and continue. Let's see, I'll just leave the camera there. And if it gets in the way, you'll just have to shout at me. Back to Control Panel, or Settings. I'll still call it Control Panel. And then over to Windows Update. Check for updates. And we'll repeat this until it says there's no more updates. It looks like this one's not that far behind, so that's a good thing. While it's checking for updates, let's look in our device manager. Ooh, I can feel warm air coming and hitting me right where my hand is here. but I don't hear the fans. So they're definitely running. Let's see, what was I doing? Device manager, right click, device manager. Here we go. So looking in the device manager under our network adapters, what do we have? We have a MediaTek Wi-Fi 7. That's the MT, what does that say? 7925. And then we've got the wired LAN is a Realtek Gaming 2.5 gig. So what I like about the Realtek is you could go to their website and download updated drivers. What I don't like about MediaTek is they don't offer you that option. So if this is Realtek or Intel, you can go right to them to get the latest drivers. With MediaTek, they'll tell you get your drivers from your manufacturer of your, whatever it's built into. So it's not like I have a problem with MediaTek drivers. I just wish that they just had like some generic drivers I could download. And that's really my only beef against MediaTek. It's a fine network adapter. I just like being able to grab drivers from the manufacturer of the device. Like in this case, let's say the Bluetooth adapter, which is MediaTek, or the Ethernet adapter, or even the AMD GPU drivers. I want to be able to get those from AMD. So MediaTek kind of ties our hands on that, and that's universal regardless of who's making the computer. The manufacturer of the computer must provide these drivers. And as long as you know that, set your expectations accordingly. I probably put too much emphasis on the drivers anyway. If there's anything important, that's really requires a new driver, typically the manufacturers will release it, of whatever. The manufacturer who included it will update the driver. Then you might argue, well, then why did, if you can download newer drivers from Realtek than you can get from the manufacturer that included a Realtek product, then why did Realtek do that? Great question. It could be for compatibility to other products. They could have one driver that works with, say, a brand new network card. And it could just be something as simple as acknowledgement and recognition to allow the driver forward. It could be an improvement in performance that's not really a security update. It's not significant that anybody would notice. There's all kinds of reasons for that. But if it's critical, if it's important, in all cases, the manufacturer should be providing updated drivers. In the meantime, what else do we have going on here? Display adapter. That's our 860M. Of course, that's built into the chip. And yeah, you can do gaming on this for sure. Let's go back over to Windows Update and see what that's doing. Well, we got a couple of cumulatives. That means it's going to take a cumulative amount of time, a cumulative amount of your life. And that's Microsoft. I don't care how fast your computer is. These cumulatives do take a while. But that looks like those are the last two. No driver updates. Everything looks happy. We can check secure boot mode if we go to MS Info right there and look down. We'll see a couple of things here. Secure boot state is on. We have a BIOS version, processor information. Obviously, we're in UEFI mode. Just, back in the day, not that long ago, really, systems could be in legacy mode or UEFI. You definitely want UEFI. And yeah, you could run virtual machines on this. This is spec'd out incredible. And I couldn't build a machine this powerful for $1,000. There's no way. Between the price of the chip and the motherboard and the RAM and the storage and the Wi-Fi card and the let's even assume we buy a motherboard with Wi-Fi and standard networking built into it. Still have the case and the power supply and then the cooler. So you're looking at quite a bit of money to get to this level. On the other hand, that'll be a machine that I can always continually upgrade, whereas this is more like a laptop in the sense that when it's time to upgrade it, it's probably time to replace it. And the higher end machine that you buy, the longer it has a useful life. It may not be any less of a life electronically, than a computer from 10 years ago. Or if you bought a $100 computer, they are pretty much going to have the same lifespan. The question is, does that computer meet your requirements, or is it going to be really, really slow and painful to use it because now your antivirus is more resource intensive and Microsoft Word is more resource intensive and the browsers are more resource intensive? I mean, just to give you some perspective, if you wanted to play a YouTube video in 2010, just 15 years ago, I will tell you what, it was all done, I think, through Flash, and you really needed quite a lot of bandwidth, which a lot of people did not have at the time. A lot of people, broadband was not as common, and the speeds were nowhere near what they are today. Now, instead of using Flash, now it's all built into the browser through HTML5. That requires more resources and more power. And now that old computer from 2010 that you were using in 2010, it still works today. Likely it'll be just fine, but you're asking it to do too much now. Your needs have grown. You may not realize it. And for that reason, when you buy a less expensive computer, it'll have a less, the lifespan of how long it'll be useful to you is typically shorter than if you buy a high-end computer. So I've seen customers, they don't want to spend a lot of money on a computer, so they buy a $300 computer. And 3 years later, they have to buy another one. And 3 years later, they have to buy another one. And every time they buy another one, they have to move all their programs and reset up all their email and printers. And they got to do that 3 times in 10 years. Or if they would have spent $1,000, or let's just say even $800 or more, they'd easily get 8 years out of that without having to go through all this. So the question is, which one saves you money? If you plan on just having a computer for 3 years and then when you're done with it, you just won't need it after that. I mean, that's a use case scenario I've never heard of before. I just need it for this job, and then once I'm done with the job, I won't need it anymore. Then yeah, it makes sense to buy the cheap one. Or hey, this is all I can afford. Well, it'll get you by, but don't expect it to get you by for 8 years. At least unless things don't change much. Like, let's say you don't pick up any new hobbies, like digital photography, video editing. You want a 3D printer, you know, stuff like that. You want to start ripping all your movies. You will quickly run out of space and power when you start changing the way you use the computer. But if you're someone who's like, look, I've been using computers for years and all my needs are just logging online, paying bills, reading email, and going on social media, in that case, yeah, it'll last quite a while. So it is very much dependent on the user and how they're intending to use it. Sometimes, you know, we don't know how we're going to use it in years from now. It's really hard to predict. Very few people can say with confidence, I won't be using my computer any differently today than I will be using it 3 or 4 years from now. Some people can say that. I mean, we'll find out if they're right in 3 or 4 years. But whoever says, I wish I didn't spend this much for this computer, it's way too fast for me and it's going to last way too long. It's taken the fun out of going shopping and spending money to buy another one and moving all my data over. I really enjoy that. I enjoy all the comparison shopping and indecision, concern and anxiety. I love the frustration of finding all my product keys and putting everything back the way it was and trying to think if I got everything. I really like to do that as often as possible. It's so much fun. Therefore, let me buy the cheapest computer possible so I can enjoy myself that much more. Said no one ever. So you get the best one you can afford. And ideally, once you hit that magic $800 range and above, you end up traditionally with a computer that's just much more of a pleasure to use it. It's not just a utility now. It'll put a smile on your face. I mean, did you see the smile on my face when the thing was ready to reboot? Holy moly. And these updates, these are big updates. It's going to take a while on anything. And that's the way Microsoft processes it. It's not to do with the mini PC. But we're really current on our OS, and so we should be. I mean, it's a brand new machine. I mean, it's a brand new introduced model to the public. Like I said, there are models of mini PCs available for sale today that are 3 and 4 years old, even older. And the lower the price is a correction to its value. So you're not getting any deals. You're getting exactly what you pay for. I want to be very clear on that. So if you say, wow, I can't believe this 11th gen computer is only $100, by the time you buy it, it's already 4 years old. Even though it's brand new in a box, it was introduced 4 years ago. So if its useful life was 8 years, its useful life is now half. And that's why it's priced at half. Is it all making sense? And then the opposite of that is just paying too much, because there's always scammers and people who will always try to gouge. So if you know the value of something, certainly understand that when the price is too good to be true, it probably is exactly where it should be. And if the price is too expensive, well, you might be dealing with a scalper or somebody, shop around. That's what I'm saying, just to verify you understand what the true value of that product is. All right, that's almost finished downloading. Let me go back over to the chat room. I guess I'm covering that up a little bit with the camera. So let me just move the camera over just a little bit more. And then I can go back over here too and move this over as well. We'll grab that and just move it to the left. There we go. While I'm waiting, while I'm thinking about it, there's a few things I like to change on Windows. So one of those things, try to make it full screen on my side. Here we go. So one of those things is I don't like this little cartoony thing down here. And I just type in search permission. I don't even have to type the whole thing. It comes up here with this suggestion. That's what I want. Scroll all the way down to the last option under more settings. Turn that off. The little cartoon goes away, stays away forever. I also don't want the computer to go to sleep on me while we're live. So I'll type edit power. All I did is get the first letter P out there, and it automatically fills in what I think I want. All I have to do is hit enter, and oh, it's already set to never. I'll put it to 3 hours on the monitor while we're live. I never put a computer to sleep unless that computer runs on a battery. It's a wasted setting that ultimately, when it works, it's great, but when it doesn't work, it's the stupidest support call ever. So if you have a laptop or something battery operated, yes, you need that to work. If you're plugged into the wall, it's just redundant and pointless. All right, I guess saying pointless after redundant was probably redundant and pointless. Anyway, so let me get back over. There's a few other settings. I don't like the notifications to bug me, so I go to notification, enter, turn notifications off, leave me alone. And then I'm going to right click on the taskbar and go to taskbar settings. I don't want these widgets. I turn them off. That's just me. And other system tray icons, it's hiding critical icons for me. I don't want to see Microsoft OneDrive. I want to see my Bluetooth options, my Windows security status, my Windows update status. That's what I want to see. Now you can see my system tray looks a little different, and look, Windows security has an issue it wants us to address that was hidden from us by default from Microsoft. It's kind of important, don't you think, Microsoft? Maybe you shouldn't be hiding the security settings? What do I know? There must be some reason why I don't work at Microsoft. Okay, with all that done, we'll just go back to Windows updates here. Still downloading. Now, in the start menu, you'll hear people go, Windows 11 has bloatware. This is not bloatware. These are little shortcuts. Look, when I hit uninstall, boom, gone. Right click, uninstall. If it was bloatware, this would be sitting a while waiting for it to uninstall. Xbox, uninstall. Oh, this one's going to take a while. Oh, no, it doesn't. That's not bloat. LinkedIn, it's a shortcut. You just uninstall this little shortcut. As soon as I click the mouse, it's gone. It's that fast. If we want to look in our installed apps, we can do that while we're downloading updates. We can see things that we don't necessarily want. I don't want them. I don't know what you want, but I don't want Microsoft Family. Uninstall. It's not bloatware. Boom, comes off. Then we've got the media player. I use VLC, so I don't want this one. This is a little bit of a program, but again, it boom, comes right off. Microsoft Bing search, you can't uninstall that. So, oh, wait a minute, this one's going to let us, usually that's shaded out. Well, I guess you can. Microsoft News, don't want that. Look at the size, 8K. Do you know how many 8K files you could put on a 1.44 megabyte floppy drive and then tell me that's bloatware? You're out of your freaking mind. Microsoft Teams, if you ever want that, you can download it. It's free. I don't want it. Mobile plans, shouldn't be in here because this is for devices that would have the option to add a cellular card, which this does not have. So we don't need mobile plans. Oh, PC Manager's already installed? Or is that just a shortcut? I love PC Manager and I recommend it on everybody's machine. Just go down to your search and type PC Manager on Windows 10 or 11. You can get it right from Microsoft. It's free. It's a CCleaner replacement that comes directly from Microsoft. Who do you think can clean your operating system better? The people who made it or the people that are trying to make money off of it off the side? Let's see, Xbox Live. We'll get rid of that one. Install. I'll keep that, keep all that. This remote desktop connection is a big security issue for me. I always uninstall it, but I'm not going to right now because the minute I take this off, it'll want to reboot the computer to finish the uninstall. And since we're doing Windows updates right now, I'm just going to, oh, it started over downloading. I'm going to let it finish these updates, reboot, then I will take out the remote access. If I want remote access securely, there's lots of free remote access programs such as Rust Desk, also ultraviewer.net, also AnyDesk, also there's more than I can shake a stick at. And every one of those is better and more secure than that remote desktop that comes with Windows. Anytime Microsoft includes something in Windows, it's pretty basic. Like, think about Notepad versus Microsoft Word. Think how simple Notepad is and look at how complex Word can be. They give you something, right? There's Notepad, so you don't need to buy a word processor. You've got one, kinda. And if you need more than that, they're happy to sell you Microsoft Office or, individually Microsoft Word, which has about 9,000 more features. But they throw in the basics. If you wanted to make a backup of this computer, you don't have to buy any backup software. Just go down here to your wrong mouse. Go down here to your control panel, hit enter, and change your category to large icons. And do you see here it says backup and restore, and in parentheses, Windows 7? That means this is a software program that was included in Windows 7. It has nothing to do with Windows 7 backup and restore. The engineer's logic, or the people that work at Microsoft, want you to know that they've not updated or replaced this with a updated version in Windows 8 or 10 or Windows 11. So they're basically saying this is many years old. We've not replaced it, which typically means they did it right. I don't know why they feel the need to put the word Windows 7 in here. There's a lot of things that carry over from Windows 7, like this mouse. Why doesn't that say Windows 7? So don't let Windows 7 throw off your like, oh, this can't be right. No, it's right. And you can use this to make a full image backup. So you don't have to buy a tool like Acronis. Although, again, this is a very basic, simple tool. Acronis lets you do all kinds of crazy stuff. There's so much more details and customization. But I say so much more. This doesn't really give you anything. It's you can make it, you can restore it. That's that. You don't get options with regards to like things of. I don't think you do with encryption and passwords and backup schedules and differential and incremental and I mean the whole thing. Going over a network and all this other stuff. So again, I'm not too familiar with this because it's a little too simple for me. However, if every home user made an image backup for free, you could solve every computer problem you've got that isn't a hardware problem. It makes no sense to me why somebody would be looking up how to remove a virus. You just restore your image. How to fix this error. Restore your image. How to fix restore your image is the universal, simple, easy repair process, unless you have something physically wrong, like it's not plugged in or an internal part has failed, which very, very rarely happens these days. You don't need to look up the details on how to fix something if you've got a current backup. Just go back in time by restoring your backup to the date it was made when the computer was running. It'll take you 20 minutes at the most. It's completely free. It's included in Windows. Unless you enjoy the diagnostic madness and research to go about fixing it and then potentially have the consequences of the fix causing another problem, knock yourself out. But I'm telling you, if people just did this one step, you'd never need data recovery services. You wouldn't have to worry about ransomware and viruses. This is your bulletproof shield, and it's free. All you have to do is put it on. Okay. Am I clear? Larry G, a member now over 36 months, contributes $10 in Super Chat. He says, hello, Carey, Mara, and everyone in chat. Sorry, this is for my late fee. Thank you, Larry. Richard DeFries joins us. Welcome in. Andy W6AD said, you always pay a premium for bleeding edge computers. In a year, this will probably be much more affordable. Well, but compared to what? So let me give you an example of this logic, because you're not wrong, but there's consequences that you may not be considering. One of the reasons this seems so appealing, one of the reasons that I'm looking at it today, is how it stands out as a performance leader at a very aggressive price point. And since I've never heard of this brand, I want to verify there's nothing suspicious or fishy about it. I'm a natural-born skeptic. I hope for the best and expect the worst. So far, everything is exceeding my expectations. Now, if we were to look at this a year later, we can do that now. Hold on, I guess I have to reboot, don't I? That's great timing, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Amazon. Let me open Amazon up over here. Let me just share with you my logic. About this time last year, maybe it was even spring of last year, spring of 2024, I was super excited and just completely blown away by the Minis Forum MS-01, which was right around $1,000, I think. Unbelievable machine. I had it out yesterday when we were talking with our Ask Your Computer guy, Scott Merrill, although we didn't end up using it. Now, I didn't get it bare bones, but you can see if we want this bare bones, $429. Now here it is today. It's only about $200 less. I want to say this was somewhere between $1,000 and $1,100. So it's gone down by about 200 bucks in a year's time. It's a 13900 with 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte. It does have USB 4, which was a lot more rare back then, 2 USB 2.5s, 2 10 gig SFP, so 4 network adapters, plus Wi-Fi, plus Bluetooth, plus the ability to support multiple M.2 drives. Even a tiny little graphics card can slide in here. This is a little mini workstation. Now with this configuration, if we click on this link and we highlight and copy this link, and we'll open a new browser tab and go to camel.com, and we're going to paste that link, we can see the pricing history. We don't have to wonder. We can see exactly how much it's dropped. At one point, this sold for $1,079. That's its peak price. Its lowest price has been $807. You're not looking at a massive difference here, not in 1 year. However, when you look at 2 years, 3 years, this price goes down accordingly, and then it seems less appealing because now it doesn't feel new and it doesn't feel as fast. So therefore, you're going to be saying, well, I'll just keep waiting, and you can end up buying nothing. Let me jump back over to camera 1.
No.
I have an email. Thank you. We're going to check email here in just a moment. Let me go back to full screen over here, and let me check for Windows updates. I think we've got them all. This isn't like the old days. The old days, the old joke was you buy it, and by the time you get it out of the box at home, it's already obsolete. This isn't 1995 anymore. This stuff is really, really good. And my regular computer customers, they have computers 8 to 10 years on average now that I build for them. And we're going to have to replace a couple of them that they're not complaining about, but with Windows 10 support ending, they're so old, they're over 10 years old, that even though we can get the extended security updates from Microsoft for Windows 10 for another year, it's time to move on. How many items in your house, electronic items, do you have that are over 10 years old? Maybe large and expensive appliances? So the less money you spend for something, don't expect it to last as long. That's all I'm trying to say. And of course, if you don't need it, then you're just buying it on a whim. A lot of people who buy machines that are $1,000, it's not a novelty for them, it's a tool. Would you want to go to a surgeon who is just buying the cheapest surgical tools? I'll just buy some used surgical tools over at the Goodwill, and then that way I can save you some money on your surgery. This isn't like a hobbyist buying some old used surgical tools because they want to make little miniature dioramas and use it as a cutting tool. This job is too serious for that. And if your computer is a toy, then spend accordingly. And if your computer is a tool that you would be distraught over if it was running slow or unreliable or needed repair, why would you voluntarily do that to yourself to go cheap? Because you will spend more and go through more of an emotional state endlessly until you finally do what you should have done to begin with. That's been my experience, and that's how I guide my customers. On the other hand, if your computer's, I could take it or leave it, then yeah, purchase accordingly. If it's way more power than you need, don't waste your money. You know, you've got to buy according to the individual. It's impossible for me to tell you what you should buy, and it's impossible for you to tell anybody you don't know really, really well what they should buy. Be like ordering for me on at a restaurant menu. I would be offended by that. Like, you'd have to check with me first. You're gonna order what now? Check email, she says. All right, I'm gonna let that check for updates, and we're gonna come back over to, oh, my phone. And my glasses. I better get my glasses out so I can see. I can just barely hear the fans on this. Oh, our friend Ben Laird sends us an Amazon gift card of $10. He says, I hope you enjoy this Amazon gift card. Well, thank you, Ben. Again, Ben joins us from Scotland. And let's see. Amazon says they just dropped off a package. Could that be? Oh, they're treats for Jimmy. Jimmy, my new assistant. He's been my new assistant for about 10 years now. All right, he's over at Studio A. I'm like, I didn't hear Amazon with a packet. Oh, that's why. All right, never mind that I just did that. Let me go back over to full screen over here. Source projector, full screen. Okay, so a couple other things that I like to do is I like to do a disk cleanup. Anybody who's never done this, by the way, I recommend you do this once a month, once a week. You can never do it too much. It's a free tool built into Windows. Disk cleanup. When it comes up, I always click to clean up system files. And if I ever work on somebody's computer, whether it's a repair or an upgrade or even a new system build, before it gets given back to the customer, I clean up after myself, which nobody in this industry seems to know how to do. And as I check every single box, I promise you there's nothing in there you want or you will miss. And it's going to return 4.62 gigs of wasted space back to us so we can use it. This is especially important if you upgrade Windows from 22H2 to 23H2. Until you do this, you end up with like 30 extra gigs taking up on your hard drive. And the reason it's there is so you can roll back if you choose to. Who rolls back, by the way? But yeah, I suppose in a rare scenario, if you do your disk cleanup, you cannot roll back and update anymore. But I haven't had to roll back and update in years. And usually the people who do need to roll back and update are the people who screwed their computers up. They had a pre-existing condition they were unaware of, and now they're going to blame everybody for the dumb thing that they did from watching some social media influencer showing you how to edit your registry or run some third-party utility to enhance performance or give you better frame rates. You got that coming, you did it to yourself, and it's going to keep happening to you until you stop it. That's not true. I did it 6 months ago. Yeah, you did. It took you 6 months to figure that out. Usually people don't figure it out. They go, well, it's something wrong with Windows. No. Most of the time, the user did some boneheaded thing, following some other boneheaded person online advising them that this was a good idea. They're okay, they do it. And then 6 months later, they got a problem, and they can't understand, how come I have this problem? Nobody else has this problem. I wish I could roll back my updates, but then stupid me, I followed Carey, and he told me to delete it. He's the idiot. You got it all backwards. You got to flip that the other way around. It's the other influencer that had you running non-Microsoft utilities that were unnecessary, that came at a price that you didn't realize for months. And what do these people do? They'll do a wipe and a reinstall of Windows because they can't get it figured out, because nobody would think that you did this to your system. You're not telling people you did it because you don't remember doing it. And so you wipe Windows, you reinstall it, and you go, that's just how terrible Microsoft is. Some people just put your computer back in a box and take it back to the store and say, this is just too complicated for me. I can't seem to use one of these without causing my own self-harm. Do you have something simpler for me? Maybe a Chromebook or an Apple product. I don't mean that in an insulting way. Genuinely and sincerely, buy the product that fits you better than this, because you will suffer the consequences of the freedoms if you don't take those freedoms seriously that you only get with Windows. You don't get these freedoms with the Apple platform, and you don't get these freedoms on a Chromebook platform. And if the Windows freedoms aren't enough for you, step up to Linux, or down, I guess, depending on your perspective. And now you can control everything. Like, you go from no control at all with Apple and Chromebook to you have to control every little detail in Linux. And Windows is kind of in the middle. Windows gives you this freedom. And with this freedom, you could go to a bad part of town in the middle of the night and get yourself hurt. Like, if you want to take this to a more literal sense. You know, there's certain parts of town you probably don't go to, certainly not in the middle of the night by yourself, because they're dangerous. Well, Windows connected to the internet is kind of like that. So if you're visiting certain sites, that it's no different than visiting a certain bad part of town. Windows isn't going to protect you in the same way Apple and a Chromebook would. But if you're the kind of person that needs protection, maybe you shouldn't be using a Windows device, and you will end up being happier with other products, other alternative products. So I really love my freedom, and that's why I dislike Chromebooks and Apples so much, is they restrict my freedom. And people love that. They go, well, I don't trust myself. Okay. I mean, I'd also rather make my own meal than get a TV dinner. I know I can make it better at home than going to a restaurant. So, not saying I don't go out to restaurants, but if I get a steak at a restaurant, I've never, ever had a steak at a restaurant. That compares to what I can make at home, getting the meat down the street at the butcher. The meat's better quality. I cook it the way I like it. I season it the way I like it. And if I don't like it, it's my fault. It's only me to blame. It's not the cow. It's not the butcher. It's not this bottle of seasoning. I'm the one who decided to use it. It's on me. I made all those decisions. At a restaurant, I don't know what's going on back there. And I'm not saying it's bad. It's fine. I enjoy a steakhouse. I do. But I enjoy my steakhouse better. Me. All right. Same with computers, same with Windows, same with, that freedom that comes along with the choices I can make in Windows. So for example, there's a few things that I like to change. I've already shown you a few of them. They're all sanctioned by Microsoft as being okay. So there's not going to be any consequences from doing any of this 6 months from now or 2 years from now, however long it takes you to figure it out. And likely you'll never know. All you'll know is it stopped working and you'll have no idea why. And you will likely blame a Windows update when it wasn't a Windows update problem. You will likely blame Microsoft. The minute you start blaming others, almost always in my line of work, it's the end user who's pointing all the fingers. They're the one causing the problem. Very rarely are they right. I'm not telling you this to insult you. I am telling you, in my experience, when somebody's overconfident, they screw up. Just watch me be overconfident and look at how I will eat crow constantly. It's like life has a way of just smacking you back down and going, not so fast, buddy. Oh, this will take 5 minutes. 3 hours later, I'm still struggling. You don't know what you don't know. So try and figure out what it is you don't know. If you truly think you're as smart as you claim to be, if you're one of those people, then explain to me how you don't know what's causing the issue. And the first question I ask myself is, what did I do? How did I screw this up? I say that because I hope it helps you get to a resolution faster. Not to insult you, not to put you down. And I'm not saying this affects everybody, but there are categories of people. And if you see yourself in that category and you want to stay there, I'm not telling you you have to move. If you see yourself in that category and I'm making you self-aware, you're like, oh, I guess I'm in that category. If you don't want to be in that category, it's up to you to get yourself out of it. I can't do anything about it. But let me go back over here. I've got my utilities flash drive plugged in, and I've got a couple things I like to do, which is, first of all, let me go full screen here on HDMI 3. That's this guy. Okay, now I can see it. So we're going to look at, let's see, the USB drive. That's my flash drive. If we want to bring CPU-Z over, we can take a look at that. VLC, I always put that on to replace the Microsoft Media Center and get rid of Microsoft Media Center because I don't like it. My Windows 10 optimizer is all sanctioned by Microsoft. We're not changing or creating new registry keys. We are changing existing registry keys to the options that Microsoft allows. My Windows 11 fixes the browsing issues that Microsoft has tightened down for security reasons. Why does Microsoft have to make Windows so hard? Because the internet is trying to steal everything from you. Are you not aware? Like, I see this on Reddit, I see this on places where people are like, why does Microsoft have to make it so hard to network? I don't know, why do you need keys to get in your car? Because that's the world we live in, and people are getting more and more clever, and Microsoft's trying to help you. I don't want your help. Let me just walk through the streets unarmed through some war-torn area. Don't protect me. And then when they bring your body back, we'll say, well, guess that problem solved. All right, crystal disk mark we can use to measure the benchmark of the included NVMe drive that this unit has inside. Hardware info, if we want to run Cinebench R23, we can do that. Just drag that up. I think that's everything I need. Close that up, wait for that to finish. Perfect. Then I'm going to unplug my flash drive, put it back in my drawer. Okay, it looks like here we still have an issue. See the little triangle? What does it want? Happy, doesn't want nothing. Okay. Thing looks good. Don't know why that's, oh, maybe because a Windows update came in and it needs to refresh itself, which it'll do on a reboot. So I guess we'll start by running Uncle Carey's Windows 10 optimizer. Of course, everything here is reversible. If you just hover your mouse over something, I think. Doesn't it pop something up? Yeah. And you see how it's a checkbox. It's an empty box. And down here it says optimize, right click to undo. So if we did this and we want to undo any of these options, we can right click. Well, I guess we have to do them first for me to demonstrate this. Somebody asked me, they said, is there any way to undo it? It says right here, right click to undo. Anyway, so if we get a little dash, that means we don't have to make any changes. That means it's already optimized to my preferences. And if it's got a checkbox, it means it wants to make changes from, it's an intelligent tool. It's saying these settings that I'm looking at need to be changed if they have a checkbox. They don't need to be changed if they have a dash. They're already in the optimal place. So I'm going to hit apply. Now you're going to see a lot of access denied here. This is because it's turning off indexing and some of those files are currently in use. That's normal. And then it's going to want to reboot for these changes to take effect. And that's it. The $7 tool I sell. And you think for $7 people be happy. But no, somebody's got to email me and complain. It's the weirdest thing. Anyway, I made that tool for myself. I never made it for the public. And when you get public who buys it and then they don't understand how to use it or what they bought, I wish I'd never sold it. Honestly, it's so frustrating sometimes. The vast majority, probably 99% of the people who bought it, 99.9%, understand what it is and what it does, and they appreciate it, and they're great. And then you got this little teeny tiny percentage that, as far as I'm concerned, shouldn't even exist. And somehow, for some reason, they spent money they shouldn't have spent to buy something they didn't understand. They don't know how to use it. They don't know what it does. Then they want to email me and ask me for tutoring. Like, I'm going to be your private tutor for $7. It's going to cost you at least 10. Don't mind me. I'm just amusing myself. Let's put VLC on here. Click here. Click here. It's a free open source application. Plays all media. If you download some media, VLC will not play. That is a big red flag warning. Get rid of it. Something up with that. If VLC won't play it, it's likely a virus. Get rid of it. Whatever media you're playing, you can always find it somewhere else. If you downloaded it from the internet, I assure you, it exists in multiple places around the internet. Some places might mess with it, and other places not so much. So it's pretty rare these days that I see anything that VLC won't play. And if VLC won't play it, I'm deleting it. Period. End of story. Take that information how you will. Crystal Dismark. Let's take a look at our benchmarks on the included NVMe drive. Close this out. Hit the all button. And we're going to move this over a little bit to the left. And I'm going to go back over to the chat. See what you guys have to say. Rip City Raider said, I thought Uncle Carey's optimizer works great. 9,999 other, well, 999 other people agree. There's 1 or 2 people, 3 people that just got to have a reason, you know. I just want to say, here's your $7. Just don't email me anymore. It's not worth it. You can keep the tool. You don't have to give it back. Just here's your $7. Goodbye. It's so frustrating. If they want to pay me $70, then I can give them that kind of service. Mark Baggett said, Acronis is a great value. I do monthly backups and I like the Acronis security features that are built into the software. Oh, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying for people who say, oh, it's too expensive, blah, 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 you have free options in Windows. Downloading third-party utilities in particular, I am very opposed, unless it is absolutely necessary, which it can be, but that's an exception. It's not normal. So for your basic end user who claims they don't have any money, you've got a free backup tool right there in Windows. Use it. Or don't. But when you come crying to me about you lost everything, I can send you over to $300 data recovery, because you could buy 10 copies of Acronis for $300, and then you're going to have to wait. You got to pay the shipping. You got to wait. There's no guarantee they can get everything back or anything back. And it's a very expensive and slow way to do a restore. If you did your own backup, you could restore in moments, in minutes. for free. How does data recovery places, how do they stay in business? I don't understand. How are we in 2025 and people aren't backing up their data that they claim is important? If it's important, you would have backed it up. And if you don't care, then don't. That's it. Nobody's going to do it for you, and nobody cares if your data's lost. That's a you problem. So I'm telling you, trying to help you make better decisions or make better have better expectations that are more in line with the decisions you're making. Oh, I don't need to back up. That's never happened. So then your data's not important. Well, I'll be okay. And then it happens because they never think it's going to until it happens to them. What am I going to do? Oh my God, I'm freaking out. I need your help. Please help me. Please, please. I'll do anything. I'll help you. I'll do it for $100. $100? I don't have $100. You know it's normally $300. Oh. You want to take my calls for me? Anybody? I'm trying to help. You can lead the horse to water, you know? You can't make it drink. Thomas MacT joins us and says hello. He says it's 91 degrees Fahrenheit in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's about 5:45, 3 hours ahead of us. Dennis KF0LX says hello. Welcome in, Dennis. Let me see how we're doing over here in our test. Oh, we're doing pretty good. It already finished. 6,119 on our sequential read speeds. On a high-end Gen 4, this will be like 7,300. So the fact that this is a basic Gen 4 drive in a mass-produced computer, that's a good number. You need to use the other mouse so you can see this number here. And then the write speed's always going to be a little bit slower, but we're still over 5,000, which is an amazing performance numbers for a bulk-produced Gen 4 drive sold mass market. You can spend more money to get a higher performing drive, but you probably won't notice it other than benchmarks. Like, for example, if this number here said 7,300, you might be really happy you got that number, but the difference in moving data at 6,100 versus 7,300 megabytes per second is about, well, depending on the size of the data, you'd measure it in milliseconds. So if milliseconds matter to you, open your wallet. So this is what's included. That's really, really good. So I'm going to save this image here, these results, so I don't forget that I did this already. Crystal disk mark is what we'll call it. And then we're going to, come on, Carey. We're going to put it as a JPEG file. And we're going to save it to the desktop. Boom. All right, let's bring up hardware info. Let's see what kind of temps this thing's running. I still really don't hear the fans in this. Very, very quietly. But I do feel the hot air coming out. Let's go to sensors only. Whoops. Sensors only. Come on. Too hyped up. Talking about backups and people's stubbornness. It's not going to happen to me. Okay. Let's scroll down here, look for our CPU temps. Core CPU temperature, core temperatures. That's what I want. Okay, so this first aisle indicates where we're at right now. The second aisle indicates the lowest that it's recorded since we started this piece of software. And in this aisle here, this row or aisle, maximum is the peak temperature it has hit, even if it's just for a moment. How hot is the maximum? And we're going to keep an eye on that maximum as we run a torture test. So Cinebench could be something that you would run on a system of this nature. You could do video editing on this. You could do Blender on this. Slice files, if you're 3D printing, all that. This computer is more than capable. Don't let its size fool you. So let's take a look at what our numbers and temps are when we use it in an emulated mode like that. So I'll hit the start button here on our multi-core test, and this will warm up for about 10 minutes. Now those first 2 minutes are where we're going to see our highest temps. So what I'm going to do is move this over And I'm going to have to get rid of camera 1. I think I'll just move camera 1. So let me just bring this down here. And then let me come over here, grab camera 1, and just drop it to the other corner. That way we can see everything live as it's happening and see what kind of numbers we're getting out of this bad boy. And then we'll also listen for noise, because this is torturing the heck out of the CPU. This is a CPU test.
Give email.
And I have email. All right. Well, that's perfect timing, because we have to wait and sit here for this test. This is a 10-minute warm-up, and then the test runs. And then we'll do the single core, which, by the way, having a machine like this and saying, just limit me to 1 core, is like having an 8-cylinder engine and going, just shut the other 7 cylinders down. I don't need them. But Cinebench does them both. And, you know, depending on the CPU, Cinebench measures both single and multi-core performance, and also we can measure the temps along with that. So we're showing it live in real time, like we always do. And Mark Gaines with a £5 super chat says, Carey, check your email and your PayPal. Well, okay then. Email and PayPal. Mark Gaines with $25.65 says, I don't see a message, Mark. Did you? Well, thank you for the support. Usually, oftentimes people leave a little message there. Sometimes I don't see it. I just want to make sure I'm not saying it. I've got an air conditioning issue at Studio A. And by the way, if you live in Arizona, July and August are when your air conditioner is going to break. So they were giving me a report. I'm going to keep this out and watch for a message. Oh, Mark sent us an email. I see. And Mark Gaines, you know, he took that Trix all-in-one cooler out, replaced it with a Corsair IQ cooler because they had incompatible RGB fan controllers, and so it required multiple pieces of software, which is a pain in the butt when you want to synchronize all those pretty lights you bought to work together. So rather than try and use like Signal RGB or a third-party utility for that, he decided he'd just sell the Trix cooler to a friend and help use that money to pay for the Corsair cooler that ties into the Corsair fan controller he's already got. Then he just uses one piece of software, the Corsair IQ software. And he sent a picture of what it looks like. I guess he's got it all installed and functional. Let's see if I can bring that up here to the camera and share it with you. That's a clean machine. Not much you can do about those video card cables. Looks good. Got a lot of RGB. The rear fan is RGB. The 3 fans at the top for the radiator RGB. The 3 fans in the back are RGB. The pump is RGB. There's probably RGB RAM in there. And the motherboard looks like it's got some RGB. I think that is Mara approved. There you go. Well, thank you for sharing the picture with us. And yeah, I mean, it looks good. Nothing looks like it doesn't belong. I don't know if we had a picture of the Trix cooler in there to compare them, but certainly the maintenance and usability functionality of it is going to be better if you keep it all tied in with the same brand, the same manufacturer. Same is true with Wi-Fi and routers. It's not that you have to buy the same brand. It's just if there's problems, another brand will always blame the other brand. So if you say, well, I've got a Linksys router and a Netgear wireless card, Netgear will say it's a Linksys problem. Linksys will say it's a Netgear problem. But if you bought everything from Netgear, they wouldn't be able to sort of dismiss your concern. They'd have to deal with it. So even though there's no compatibility reasoning why you can't mix and match different manufacturers, they don't necessarily work well together. And when you try and get support, they always blame the other one. Support today is not there to help you. When you call a manufacturer's support number, the people answering the phone are pressured by their bosses to get through that phone call as quickly as possible. If you've never worked phone support, I'm going to tell you how it works. You're given a script. You're going to deal with people who are angry because of how long they've been on hold. They're already mad at you. They're mad because they have to call you. They're mad because they've been put on hold for so long. And now you're on the phone. And now their most recent anger is, why has it taken you so long to answer the phone? Because consumers are so abusive and entitled, you are seeing support go away. So the way it works, and this is, by the way it's always worked, from the time I entered the industry back in 1991, your boss, the person you report to, is going to look at the end of the day, the end of your work shift, and he's going to look at how many calls you did and the number of hours you were there, and how many calls your coworkers did working the same number of hours. And the company projects an average, and they expect you to meet or exceed that average. If you fall below that average, you're going to have a talking to. Now, even though you may say, well, because I'm helping my customers, they don't call back, and that reduces the number of calls. Nonsense. La, 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 la. We don't pay you for that. That's in your imagination. If you help them too quickly, they'll call back every single time they have a problem. Make them wait. Make them fix it themselves. Make them discouraged to want to call us. If you help them, you're only going to make them want to call us more. They're going to think, why should I think on my own when I can just call support? Make them wait. Get them off the phone as quickly as possible. And if you want to impress me, answer and deal with more calls per hour than everybody else, regularly, on the regular, and I will promote you. So the less you do to help the customer, the more money you can make, the more opportunities in the company will open for you. Support is a cost center. They don't make any money off of it. That's starting to change. We're starting to say, hey, people think we're tutoring them and that's support, and we're not doing it. So then they're saying, give us your credit card number before we'll even put you on hold. That drops a lot of calls right away. That means you don't have to hire as many people to answer the phones who aren't generating any money, but you have to come up with a salary for them. Where's the money coming from? It comes out of the price of the product. When you buy a really cheap product, one way you can get it really cheap is they have, not this product per se, but let's say you go on AliExpress, you get zero support. If you want the support, pay a little bit more money and go to a higher name brand, somewhere like HP or Dell, they have support. But even then, when you go to call them, probably going to be on hold. It's probably going to be very discouraging, and they likely aren't going to help you. They'll reset your computer. I've got programs on my computer. Yeah, so it's not my problem. So you go, okay, well, I guess that's what I have to do. You reset it, and you still have the same problem. You got to call them back. Some people reset their computer, and they lose everything. They call me in tears. They didn't tell me I was going to lose everything. Everything's gone. What can I do? Free support. They're not liable. I mean, tears. People are emotionally shattered. They did not make that clear to me that I was going to lose everything. I didn't know. Well, you should have had a backup. Yeah, thanks for the help, buddy. I know. Just saying. Thank you to Mark Gaines for the PayPal contribution, sharing the photo in your PayPal, your super chat as well. Mark joins us from Northern Ireland. Wayne Ellison joins us and says hello. El Perez says, I just renewed my membership yesterday. I'm 11 months into membership. Hey, Al, that's great. Thank you. That 6 next to your name is going to turn to a 12 this time next month. That's awesome. Thank you for supporting us. Frankie B said, I just ran the optimizer on my brother's PC. That's the great thing about the optimizers. You can run it on any number of computers you want forever. Works on Windows 10 and Windows 11. You buy it once. There's no activation key. And if somebody likes it, I only ask that you don't copy it for them. You can run it, but keep it to yourself. If you want them, if they want it, I can't stop you from copying it. But I would really appreciate if you tell them, hey man, it's only $7. Support the poor guy, you know? Buy the tool. But I leave it up to you to make the right decision there, either way. So we finished with our test. Let me go back to full screen over here on this little guy so I can read it. Okay, there's our final benchmark here. 21, what is that, 885? Let's go ahead and do, oh, wait a minute. What was our highest temp? I wasn't paying attention. Ooh, it hit 90. Okay. That's not terrible. It's hot, but it's not too hot. It hit 90 on core 1, 2, and 3. And it just did it momentarily, right? It's like a turbo on a car. It kind of kicks on or drops gear when you need to pass. You're not intended to just drive with that on the whole time. And so that's normal, and that's what we expect to see. Let's go ahead and start the single core test now. Again, that'll run for 10 minutes. And we'll bring up the monitoring here as well. We can usually tell which core is the one being used by looking at its current temperature here on this left side. And the one I'm on, this core 3, no, I think it's core 0. That is likely the core that we're using. And the core located next to it on the die on the CPU is probably the next hottest because they sit right next to each other, probably not even a millimeter apart. So that's one way if you're curious which core is being used. It's going to be the hot one. So we'll let that run, and let me jump back over here and get back over to the chat room. Bob R. just renewed membership, now a member for 38 months. Thank you, Bob. Bob says hello to Carey in chat. Wayne Ellison joins us from Houston, Texas. I bet it's humid there. And what else? Ron Barnish says hello. Welcome into Ron. Let's see if there's anybody else I've missed. I think I got everybody. Now, do you have any questions about this unit? I think this is the first product this company's ever made. Like, I think it's the only thing on the market right now. But if this is the level of what they're making, I can't wait to see what else they got next. I can't get over how quiet it is. And it's a regular package size. Like, I don't know, it can't be more than 5 inches by 5 inches by maybe it's 2.5 inches. Nothing to it. David Graham says, did you see the new Superman? No, it's just doesn't look good to me. I'm not really a DC fan, to be honest. However, I did like Christopher Nolan's Batman series. I thought that was the best. There's not a Batman movie I've ever seen that I've liked, except Christopher Nolan and Christian Bale. So when a Batman movie comes out, or even a Spider-Man movie, I don't get excited about it because Spider-Man just feels like, and Batman, they've been rebooted so many times, they've told the same story over and over and over, and all they're doing is telling the same story with different actors. I don't think I would mind if they did that with Star Wars or Back to the Future, honestly. They're talking about bringing back Indiana Jones with a new actor, rebooting it. I think if they could get Nathan Fillion to play Indiana Jones, that'd be really cool. but it's rumored. I don't know that it's going to happen. Some people feel like, those movies were perfect, leave them alone. I don't know. It doesn't replace them. Could introduce it to a whole new generation and give new actors a chance to be successful. And if the movie's crap, then you could say, well, that's why you shouldn't have remade it. Okay. I'd rather they remade a movie I really liked than just keep remaking the same movies over and over again that maybe I liked until they've rebooted it the 4th time. Spider-Man I used to like. It's just gotten so, the same stories told so many times now. How many Spider-Men have there been? And every time there's a new Spider-Man, they start over from the beginning with the same story. Yeah. Same with Batman. How many Batmans have we had? How many times have we watched Bruce Wayne's parents get killed in an alley? Like, how many times you got to tell me that story? Can you spread it out by 20 years? Do you have to tell it every 4 years? Did you think I forgot? This is the problem with getting old. Somebody who's younger than me going, I never saw what's Batman? There's a Batman movie? Oh, out of the mouths of babes. But Star Trek Strange New Worlds started up. And that was released late last night. I think it's Paramount Plus, and you can sign up for it through Amazon. And they released the first 2 episodes. And I like Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I feel like that's more sincere, more genuine and authentic to the original series than any other Star Trek I've ever seen. Whatever that's worth. I really like it. And I think they're going to do 1 more season after this, and they're done. So right when they get it all figured out, they're like, yeah, time to move on. I guess it doesn't matter if it's successful or not. They're pulling the plug regardless. But I'm happy to see some new shows coming out, because I've been this summertime when everybody's on vacation, a hiatus. There's like nothing to watch, and I usually don't have much time to watch TV. So if I already don't have much time and there's nothing to watch, that's pretty bad. We were watching Murderbot, which, 10 episodes. It's only like 22 minutes per episode or something. It ran for 10 episodes and it's over. Like, is it going to be renewed for season 2? There's like 8 books, and season 1 just covers book 1. So the material's there. Did it do well enough to pay for itself for them to renew it? Nobody knows yet. But that's a fun, goofy, a little bit goofy science fiction series. Patrick Manny said Christopher Reeve is Superman. I never, I know it's not a popular opinion, but I've never really felt that Christopher Reeve was all that much of a Superman. He had the look, but he didn't really have the muscle. Also, the films, the effects are kind of... However, having Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor, having Marlon Brando play his father, I mean, that's pretty cool casting. However, I'm going to keep saying however, Henry Cavill, to me, is Superman. I've never seen a better Superman than Henry Cavill. And this new kid, he seems a little wet behind the ears to be Superman, but I haven't seen the movie, so I'm judging a book by its cover here. It's just this Superman in the trailers, it looks like Wile E. Coyote. It looks so cartoony. I'm like, well, why don't you just make a cartoon? There's plenty of Superman animated movies I could be watching. I don't need a live action cartoon. And it's just how it looks. It doesn't look convincing. But Dennis says, what about George Reeves? Oh, my mother loved George Reeves as Superman, but I wasn't born. So, yeah, for her, she thought George Reeves was the Superman. And then she also liked Christopher Reeves too. But yeah, for me, I'm a Roger Moore guy for James Bond. I also liked Pierce Brosnan. Timothy Dalton, Daniel Craig, Sean Connery. To each their own. The Fast and Furious movies are like the Roadrunner 2, you know. It's like watching a cartoon. It's so ridiculous. We're going to drive a bus 50 feet off a cliff. We're going to jump 50 feet across with no ramp. Like it wouldn't just fall immediately. No, it soars somehow and makes it to the other side. They must be on the moon. I'm okay with suspending disbelief, but not so much that my brains fall onto the floor. I mean, come on. Dazzle says Henry Cavill is a computer guy. Yeah, Henry Cavill's got a computer build video online. He's also a big Warhammer fan, fanatic. And I think Henry Cavill is going to be in the new Highlander reboot. Am I remembering that right? The bus jump and speed. Yeah, there's a great example. Maybe I'm confusing those two things. That bus jump and speed, that bus would have to be traveling over 300 miles an hour. Oh, man. But at least that movie was a little bit more believable. Fast and Furious, they're always doing some ridiculous thing that defies the rules of physics. And if they just did it once or twice throughout a 2-hour movie, I'd be okay with it. But it's constant. I'm going to jump off a cliff with my car and have a helicopter that's got a hook dangling, latch onto the car without rehearsal and without ever, getting a second chance, with no parachute. And it works. And it doesn't just pull the helicopter right out of the air and smash it into the ground. No, helicopter catches the car. First time, first try, never did it before. Everybody's fine. And then they're going to drive and do some other ridiculous thing. And it's one thing after the other, where it gets to a point where it's become a Pixar cartoon. And it just takes the fun out of it for me. I'd like to see a little bit more realism, a little more balance. It's so ridiculous. It just ruins the movie for me. Takes me right out of it. Popcorn movies, check your brain. I mean, I'm okay with that for some movie. If I go into a movie knowing it's, it's Harry Potter or it's science fiction, there still has to be rules, man. There's got to be rules. Is that so wrong to just have some rules we have to follow? We just make it up as we go. The writers can just write their way out of anything. Wave the wand. Okay. Doctor Who, just use your sonic screwdriver. Oh, I didn't know it could do that. They do that in the Star Wars reboots or the prequels too. Oh, there's force speed. What the hell is force speed? Oh, we can talk to each other telepathically. When did they start doing that? Not staying in the rules. Ruins the movie. Lazy writing. Shop Persian Rugs joins us and says hello. How are we doing over here? Did this finish yet? I've not been paying attention. Yeah, I think it's finished. No, it's not finished. It's still working. Where are we at? Oh, it's running the benchmark now? I see. Okay, so it's almost done. And what's our maximum temp over here? Hasn't exceeded what it already hit prior. So 90. And even then, on the one core we're on, it hasn't even hit that. So it's just temporarily bumping the 90, does what it needs to do, comes back down again. That's what a CPU is supposed to do. That is running exactly as I would hope. And the fans, this whole time I've been talking, it hasn't distracted me with fan noise at all, or I would have noticed it. I had to stop and think about that for a second. We haven't heard any fan noise. If I'm really quiet, I can hear it. All right, I guess we can take a look at the BIOS when this is over with this test. We'll just see what it looks like and what the options are, and then we'll wrap it up for today. So Aiberzy, I like it. Let me jump back over to the chat room and see if you guys, again, final questions, anything you want to talk about, this is the time. David Graham says the new Fantastic Four isn't a reboot, it looks good. I don't know. I don't know. I want to see Nobody 2. That looks amazing. And I want to see something else is coming out in August. They're redoing The Running Man, which looks nothing at all like the original Running Man movie. They're doing Mortal Kombat 2, which looks stupid. The Naked Gun movie looks amazing. Like just absurdly funny, like Airplane. Let's get back to that. Let's get back to silly, where it's not trying to be serious. When you have a serious movie like Fast and Furious that is taking silliness seriously, that's where my disconnect is. If I'm going to see a silly movie, then I'm expecting a silly movie. If I'm going to see a serious movie, what are you thinking? You know where I'm going with this. I expect to see a serious movie. I don't expect these two genres to be mixed. And sometimes they can do that really well, but sometimes they overdo it. Like Arnold Schwarzenegger would always have those lines after he killed somebody, you know. Didn't you say you were going to kill me last? Yes, I did. I lied. Bang. But, you know, I felt like in the 80s it wasn't as overdone. Now when they do it, it's okay if they have self-awareness. Peacemaker will kind of be self-aware of it. It's refreshing to see a movie about aliens, let's just say. Aliens come to Earth. And people behave as though they've never seen a movie about aliens coming to Earth before. Like, what do we do? You've seen movies about this. Or zombie movies. Have you never seen a zombie movie? Don't you know? Isn't this somewhat, like at some point, doesn't the dialogue between the actors on screen reference, isn't this like that movie? Isn't this like Dawn of the Dead? Doesn't this remind you of that? Did you ever, like, that feels more real. That seems like what people would say. I can't believe this is happening. This is what you see in the movies. But oftentimes, they don't reference it. Like, how can you have a Ghostbusters sequel where the grandkids don't know anything about the Ghostbusters? They don't know anything about New York City and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. What, everybody just forgot? Nobody tells that story? You don't know who these people are? That didn't forever change the world in our society? No, we all forgot about it and moved on. Really? Really? Okay. But we are acknowledging that it happened. Yes. But just nobody knows. Right. We never bothered telling the grandkids. So they didn't pick it up at school or on the internet. By the way, it's somebody in your family. It's a relative, you know, before you were born. Wouldn't you know? This disconnect of self-awareness for me is what kills a lot of movies. Deadpool nails it. Deadpool has these moments of complete self-awareness that you're like, wow, it feels honest to the point of how does he have a job? Oh, Disney's gonna not like this. And then he does it. You're like, okay, how did Disney allow him to do that? Well, pretty simply, it's making a lot of money. So Disney said, well, this always makes money, so let him keep making money. I love that. I love that. Yeah, need more of that. David Graham said, it's a good review of this Mini. If I had the cash, I'd try it. I've got a Ryzen 7 5800X with a 4070 GPU, so I don't have a need. Sure. Patrick Manny said Mel Brooks is doing a Spaceballs 2. Well, he's just producing it. He will be 100 years old when that movie comes out in 2 years, 2027. Okay, so I think this is done. Let me just jump back over here, see what our score is. Yeah, I mean, clearly we're not shining on single core tests here, but when you compare it to other CPUs, you know, from a few years ago, it sails past them with ease. And again, our temps, very manageable in here. And the fan noise was very quiet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just grab a screenshot of this by hitting function print screen. I think that's how this keyboard works. And then I'll open Microsoft Paint. and I'll hit paste. Edit, paste. There it is. And we will save that on the desktop as a JPEG image. And I'll call it Cinebench. I guess I don't want caps lock on. Cinebench R23. And we'll put it on the desktop with the other test result. What did I do? Oh, I see. I have a folder with the same name, so that's all right. Cinebench. Cinebench results. How you like me now? Much better. Okay. Close that, close that, close that, close that. Now, when I try and browse my network on a new Windows 11 install, it's going to error out because of new security that Microsoft has implemented. It's not there to punish you, it's to protect you. So if I go to browse my network, it's first of all, it's going to say, you need to turn on network discovery if you want to do that. So turn on network discovery. It says on a private, no, I don't want to be on a private network, make it public, or yes, turn it on for public. Always choose no. I know this goes against what you're used to. If you're like me, you see yes, you want to click yes, yes, are you sure, yes. It's not asking if you're sure. It's asking if you're on a public network. Are you at Starbucks or at a hotel, or are you at home or at an office? If you're at home or at an office, choose no. I want to be on a private network. That's the only way you should be sharing files, is on a private network. So you want to say no. I'm not on a public network, no. Now all of the network computers show up, but the minute I try and connect to one, I get this cannot access error. That's due to the fact that Microsoft really doesn't want you openly sharing, even on a private network, which is frustrating for me. It's a security issue, because if somebody gets onto your private network on one computer, they have access to all the computers, and therefore it's a security concern. But I don't mind that security concern. It's so unlikely. I'm going to just highlight this PowerShell command right here. And what this does is it turns off the SMB signing requirement. And all we do is we open PowerShell. As an administrator. Not Power Automate. I opened the wrong thing. PowerShell. This one right here. Click that little arrow. Run as administrator. Yes. Control V to paste the command that we just copied. Press enter. And then we have to confirm with the letter Y that we definitely want to do this. Yes. And then we're going to run the second command, which is this one, which enables guest fallback accounts. So we don't have to use a username and password. Control C will copy that. Control V will paste it, enter, and yes, and then exit. And we'll close this notepad because we're done with it. Now when I go to browse the network, everything works fine without a password. It's that easy. Anybody that complains networking on Windows 11 is difficult clearly doesn't understand the basics, and they're working way too hard than they need to be working. They're overthinking it. So we go back to our network, we'll see the computers, right? There's a streaming computer, there's the new NAS. Click on it, now it opens and we can see all of our folders and we have access. And that's a permanent fix. Should Windows release or Microsoft release another update that locks it back down, we just run it again. It's not that big of a deal. Let's take a look at our BIOS. We're going to go Start, Shut Down, Restart. And as it restarts, I'm going to guess Delete key. I know sometimes it's been Escape, it's been F2, it's been F10. I'm going to start pressing Delete rapidly right now, repeatedly, hoping I catch it. Hey, look at that. It's got the graphical user interface. We've seen this before on other mini PCs. There's Setup. This gets us into a traditional BIOS setup here where we've got information about the machine under Advanced. Oh, this is all setup information, I see. Let me go under Advanced. Right now, the power limit is on balanced mode. So if we want to put this to performance mode, it'd probably get noticeably louder and maybe give us a little tiny bit more performance. In silent mode, of course, it's already pretty quiet, but that must make it even quieter. And that also will reduce your performance a bit. So I like the middle. I think right out of the box, that's the way to keep it. But you have options. If you choose to use those, you know what's in there. Then under trusted computing, you've got your options under there. And then under CPU configuration, that all looks good. Onboard devices, all good. ACPI, again, none of this I want to change. This is your monitor that tells you your temps and your fan speeds. As I mentioned, it's got the CPU fan and that other little system fan. You've got a fan mode that you can adjust, which leaving it on auto, I think, is a smart setting. Network stack configuration, there's nothing I do in here. AMD CBS, what is that? Oh, that's all stuff I don't mess with. Scroll down a little bit, that's it. Then you've got your typical secure boot stuff, your boot override stuff, and save and exit. So if I hit escape again, but without saving, okay. Boot means to continue booting. This exits you out of this screen and continues to boot Windows. The UEFI shell is a diagnostic and repair area for techs. You don't normally, but you need that. Boot options, if you just want to temporarily boot to a flash drive or another thing, you just go right here. BBS menu. Doesn't really show anything here. I guess if you have multiple boot devices in the computer, I'm not quite sure how BBS menu is different from the boot options menu. And that's all there is to it. With regards to opening it up, I don't think we need to. We've already seen somebody took a picture of it there on the Amazon reviews, and I got to agree with the Amazon reviews. This is impressive. So this is a brand we're going to keep an eye on. I'm also a little concerned that we still have that yellow triangle that I thought would resolve itself. Click on it. Oh, there is a problem. It says sign in with Microsoft. Oh, it's that nonsense. Okay. You don't have a Microsoft account. Oh, no. Finally, the other thing we can do if we want to is make sure we update the AMD Adrenalin software. So we'll just continue there and check that. Confirm and start browsing. Type in AMD Adrenalin. This is good if you own any AMD computer and you don't know if you have this. You can always just download it for free. And even if you do have it, how do you know you've got the latest version? By just downloading it for free and installing it. For all AMD computers, laptop, desktop, any PC, just download Windows drivers. You're going to get this download here, which isn't that big, and then execute it. And if you've already got it in the same version, it didn't cause any harm. And if you don't have it, or it's an older version, congratulations, you've just increased your performance, stability, and security for free. So while that's running, we can close it out. And I think that's going to wrap it up for today. I'm just going to go through this regular process here. Let's see. Open source projector again so I can see that. Yeah, just do the express install. There we go. And I'll just let that install. Job done. Mara mentions the build price, the build and the price and the coupon details are updated in our video notes. And we want to thank our friends at SCD Keys. Let me go full screen over here. SCD Keys. That's where I'm getting my office and license keys. That's where I buy them. This is the price I pay. I do it the same way you do. I use my own coupon code so I can get the 30% off. And I love knowing the peace of mind that there's 6 months of free support should I need it. And the keys are always genuine, authentic, real keys at a fraction of what Microsoft wants to sell those keys for. So if you're wondering where do I get my Office and Windows license keys that keeps it legal for me to run a business and it's not breaking the bank so I'm still competitive in the marketplace, I am sharing that information. I don't have to. So our thanks to SCD Keys for giving us that added incentive of the 30% off. Because honestly, without the 30% off, I'd probably still be buying them. They're still cheap. 30% off is even better. With that, of course, thanks to Mara for all the work she does as our channel administrator, doing all of the thumbnails and video descriptions in our videos. Thank you to everybody who contributed today, from Mara Gaines and Ben Laird to, of course, our friend Buster out there in Scotland, with some very generous support today from all of you. And to all the members, thank you all for continuing to support this channel so we can maintain our independence as true reviewers and not making deceptive commercials disguised as reviews. We'll put this through a long-term test. I mean, this is one that deserves a follow-up. What it's like to use and live with. And I know just where it needs to go. And that person will report back to us and let us know if they have any issues or concerns. And if we don't hear back, we'll assume everything's fine. And when we think about it, we can reach out and say, is everything fine? I think it's going to be great. We offer our members the opportunity to oftentimes accept things that we don't have the bandwidth to do a long-term test on. And we simply want to know what it's like to live with. That's it. We stopped doing it with the public in general because the public in general, too many of them take the product and go. We never hear from them. Sometimes we hear from them in 4 or 5 years when they want something else. So that's stopped. It's just so abusive. But we know our members, they support us. We want to support them back. If you should see something as a member here on the channel that you would like to see if it's available for long-term testing, let us know. You've got to be in the USA, though, because shipping things to other countries with tariffs and stuff is ridiculous. But it includes software, though. So if you see us evaluating a Cronus or RoboForm or something, and you're like, is there a way I can get that and evaluate it for a long-term test, and you live outside of the US, we don't have the import and shipping restrictions. So I want the members to know that. You reach out to us at our email address. Anything you see you're interested in, you want to see if there's a long-term test available. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. But just send your inquiry to showcasecreate@gmail.com. And it's available to all our members, and specifically with products within the USA that are qualified that need long-term tests. It's always been around. People just have to ask. If you don't ask. And it's just another benefit of membership that helps us to identify that we're working with real people that are going to be back again. They won't just take the product and go away, right? So we're dealing with trusted folks. And unfortunately, well, most of the public is trustworthy. There's a section who aren't, and I can't separate them out. So for that reason, this is a benefit of membership, and it's the only fair way I know to do it, where we can ensure that we hear back because we want to know honestly, has this been a pleasure to live with daily? Has it been a pain in the butt? Have there been any problems? Because I don't have the bandwidth to do all this. I need your help on it. So if you're interested, drop us a line. If you need help or you have any concerns, drop us a line. There's the email address right there. We love to hear from you. If you don't get a response from us within 24 hours, we likely did not get your email. Be sure you spell that correctly. Eventually, there's going to come a time where I'm going to just point on the screen and you're going to click there, and that way these typos don't happen. We're not quite there yet, but I can't wait for that day to come. Because still to this day, we get a lot of people, they constantly typo, they don't proofread, they're using text-to-speech, they're doing it in the most lazy way possible. People, put a little effort into it, okay? You're asking me for effort. So you got to show me a little, okay? Just proofread what you're writing before you hit the send button, please. You're going to be writing the email 3 times as I respond, go, what are you talking about? This sentence doesn't make any sense. Read it back. If you can't do that, I don't know how I'm supposed to read your mind and reply. All right, just be considerate. All right, and again, not really a problem we have with the members, but for the public watching, you're welcome to email us. And that message is for the general public, because they're the ones who are, when this problem happens, it's happening from a segment of the public viewership that can't be bothered to proofread, and I don't care what your excuse is. If you can't proofread it, please don't email me, because it's like you got no respect for me. It's, what am I supposed to do? Like, you're putting me in an impossible position to try and interpret what you've written. So I've had people write their whole message on the subject line. I open up an email, it's a blank email. I'm like, what is this? If I got to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out what the heck you want, I'm not putting that much effort into it, folks. All right? So you get what you give. Show some, get some. Show some respect, get some respect. Show some consideration, get consideration. If you just want to be lazy and talking to a microphone and you don't proofread it and it gets sent off and it says never press twice flexible immediately, I don't know what that means, and I'm just not going to answer you. Or I'm going to say try again. But I got other things going on. So if I got to tell you to proofread your email, if I got to tell you to send it again, I won't tell you a third time. Just be nice. Come on, help me help you. Gee, I wonder what's going on in the emails lately. What brought that up? All right, that's going to wrap it up for me for today. Thank you all for being members. Thanks for watching. And to all our public viewers, we appreciate you. We do have just a problem with a small percentage there of the public viewership. So if the shoe doesn't fit, then I'm not talking about you, okay? If the shoe does fit, well, then maybe I am. You know who you are. And we're just trying to help people efficiently and respectfully, and anything that slows us down or makes it harder than it needs to be is very frustrating. And that's what ends up basically in the long term, it's why things go away. It's why free services go away. It's why things that used to be free aren't free anymore, because people have enough abuse out of it. And it doesn't take that many people to do it. You could have 99% of the people doing it right, and 1% just ruins it for everybody. So we just ask for their cooperation. And I hope nobody watching this video is in that 1%. But in case you are, covering my bases. All right, did I forget anybody? I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anybody. Okay, we got Mark Gaines, Ben Laird, Buster. Thank you for your super chats, by the way, that came in today from Mark Gaines, Larry G, and our friend Bob R. renewed membership today. I think I got everybody. Frankie B says, great stream. Thank you, Frankie. Always good to see our friend Frankie. Oh, I see Frank Jimmy in there too. We got a couple of Franks. Good thing we're not at the ballpark. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Friday show, it will be on Sunday. It's a shipping issue. I won't have the parts. Friday show, tomorrow show, it's going to be on Sunday. Okay? No show tomorrow for the first time in a long time. Moving it. Friday show is when? Sunday. I hope to see you then. Until then, bye for now.